How's it going, everybody? You got the Razman coming at you here with another video. And yes, I've just gotten home about 2 hours ago. I would have filmed it more closer to straight after I had seen it, but of course I had to eat again when I got home, and then I got to talking to a YouTube friend, FK Vlogs, about some things that I was helping her with. But yes, I just got to the cinema today, and I finally got to see my most anticipated film of the year, not named The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, and of course I'm talking about the final chapter of the Tolkien novelizations, at least as far as we know, unless they can do something with the Silmarillion books. But a lot of that information, along with the information from the appendices from both The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, have been placed in these Hobbit movies. So the likelihood is that this may be the last Tolkien film we ever see, and it's very sad and very, very bittersweet in a way. But we are finally here to talk about The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, today on the Razman's Reality. Yes, indeed, the final film in the Lord of the Rings universe, the final chapter of the prequel story of The Hobbit. Now, of course, this one came with a lot of controversy because it was originally supposed to be done as two films, and then Peter Jackson and his people, and some people say it was more MGM and New Line, which is where the controversy comes into play. But after watching the appendices on The Dust Lies from Smaug, sorry, I always say Smaug, but I believe it's Smaug because Peter Jackson and Weta and all those people say Smaug. So I'm going to start saying Smaug. But I was watching the bonus features on that, which I'm still not done with, which is why this is a very bizarre situation. If you're a long time subscriber, you heard me mention the fact that I accidentally glossed over doing a cinematic review of The Desolation of Smaug. There I go again. Smaug. Because I was hoping that my cousin Chris could join me as he did for The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, and he was not able to do it. And so when I got the extended Blu-ray, I'm like, great, yes, finally I can talk about The Desolation from Smaug. But the thing is, the appendices on The Desolation from Smaug are just massive. And between trying to rewatch How I Met Your Mother, and between watching a few things that I've gotten as early Christmas gifts, including an awesome Christmas review that you guys and gals, sorry, are going to see uploaded the day after this video on the 23rd of December, 2014. I just have not been able to get to finish the appendices, and I'm not going to review the Blu-ray set without seeing all the appendices, because that is the main selling point of the second film. So yeah, this is just a very bizarre situation, because here I am talking about the third film before I talk about the second film. But oh well, such is life, because I had to talk about this film, and as you can see, I have put spoilers in the title, because the Tolkien films are unfortunately one of the rare cases where you can't really review it unless you're willing to talk about it in full. So, with that being said, if you're still here, if you just saw the main part of the title and didn't see the spoilers part, if you have not seen the film, please stop watching this review and just give it the thumbs up. If you like all of my videos, automatically do that, and then come back and watch it after you see the film. Okay, so this one starts out with the ending of The Desolation from Smaug, because Smaug is flying toward Lake Town, and you see Bard kill Smaug with the Black Arrow. And if you haven't read the books, as a film goer, you're probably really jarred and really surprised by that because that happens within the first 15 minutes of the film. And you're like, oh my god, Smaug is dead? What the heck is going on here? How can Smaug be dead already? Well, there you go. He's dead within the first 15 minutes. So you realize that there's way more to this film than what's going to happen with Smaug and his attack on Lake Town. And the Battle of the Five Armies, the title of this film actually comes from everything that happens after Smaug dies. Because the dwarfs take their rightful place on the throne of Erebor, and Thorin Thorin Oakenshield comes down with dragon sickness. And that causes him to go crazy wackadoo in the head, like totally. I didn't have my finger close enough to my head there, sorry. Totally full on crazy wackadoo in the head. And it's one of the best parts of the film because the actor playing the film, I honestly forget his name off the top of my head, so I'll put it in overlay on the screen there, or actually because of the social media and the subscribe button and the continuing poster there, it probably can't fit an overlay, so I'll just put it in an annotation after the fact, but it'll be there because if it's not there, it'll bug me. But yeah, he does an absolutely amazing job of portraying like the road that Thorin has to take in this film with the dragon sickness, and it made the film, in my opinion. The journey that his character takes, and then the fallout from what his character does, because without what his character does, in my opinion, Bard would not have taken the reins as the sort of anointed king replacement leader master after the death of the original master of Lake Town. Bard wouldn't have taken his place as the newly appointed leader of men at this point in time in Middle Earth had he not been sort of forced to by Thorin's sort of ascent into darkness. So Bilbo confronts him. He doesn't listen to Bilbo very well. He doesn't listen to the other dwarves very well, so Bilbo decides, hey, I've still got the Arkan Stone. I've got to take the Arkan Stone and give it to the elves and men because they can use it as leverage for Thorin. Thorin's going to realize, hey, they have what I want. There's no need to go to war. I can just deliver on what I promised. Well, that doesn't happen, and the war starts happening, but then, oops, there's orcs. Yeah, Gandalf comes and says, hey, wake up, people. There's orcs still in these lands. Some dark, crazy crap is about to happen to you. You need to stop fighting amongst dwarfs and elves and men and put it into these orcs. And as this is happening, I got a little ahead of myself because it's as this is happening that one of the other dwarfs, and again, I'm doing terrible with character names right now, so there's another thing that I'll have to put in annotation overlay when this review goes up. But I want to say it's Nori, possibly. Yeah, no, I did remember. I'm almost certain it's Nori who has this conversation with Thorin and says, "Hey, Thorin, your guys are dying out here. They're being slaughtered." And at first, Thorin's like, it's just a part of war. People die. But then that's actually what wakes him up, and he's like, I can't let my people die. He gets snapped back into reality and goes on full on awesome, and is actually the main reason why the people are able to succeed in thwarting the orcs, but unfortunately he dies in the battle. So that is a very, very hard scene to watch Thorin die. And but then you get to see the great reaction to, I just said and but. Sorry. What I was saying was it's very, very difficult to watch Thorin die, but then you get to see Martin Freeman's excellent, tremendous acting skills that, of course, you've seen somewhat in the first two films, but you really see in BBC Sherlock. They really, really come to terrific light in this scene. You know, the emotion that he feels when Thorin passes is just amazing. And just, I don't really have to say much more about it. I've talked a lot about the plot, but I really don't have to remove the whole thing. I don't have to talk about every single thing that happened in the movie. I mean, the only other really main thread is the thread between Legolas and the lady elf. Gosh, I'm doing terrible with character names. You know what? Forget annotations. I'm just gonna put down there in the description box. I was terrible with character names in this review. Forgive me. I'll just put the IMDb link down below in the description box. But yeah, you have the conclusion of the story between, and the only reason that I'm forgetting character names right now is because I'm in front of the camera. If I wasn't in front of the camera, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's this and that's that. But you guys know how that happens. You sit down to do a review, and instead of getting a good review out, sometimes your brain goes to mush. So I will probably end up doing a extended version of this film review next year because I'll look back at this and say, man, I could have said so much more about this film. But yeah, you have the conclusion of the dwarf, lady elf, and Legolas storyline that happens, and that's really the only other main thread because everything else that sort of is teased, of course, happens in the Lord of the Rings trilogy itself. But it was a wonderful ending to it. I'm not gonna spoil what the actual final scene of the film is because that's something that you really have to see for yourself. But as a fan of this franchise, it did everything that you want this franchise to do. It was hard hitting, it was fast paced, it was emotional, and it was a beautiful, beautiful conclusion and a worthy conclusion to Tolkien's universe. Is it the best Tolkien film? No. The Return of the King still is and will always be the best Tolkien film. Is it the best Hobbit film? Maybe. I still think there's some elements of A Desolation from Smaug that I like a little bit better, which is weird because it's the middle story. But it definitely is the strongest and most as far as things that the actors and actresses are allowed to do and the layers that they're allowed to explore. It definitely is the strongest film from that perspective. But overall, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever rating system you use, this film is great. It's great because you can't look at these films as adaptations of the books because there's so many things that they have to change with Tolkien's universe in order to make it translate into film that you're never able to compare the books and the films side by side. You have to enjoy these as films as opposed to things like Harry Potter and The Hunger Games and Narnia, Game of Thrones, even to an extent, although I haven't read those books yet on purpose because I'm such a big fan of the show, but you get my point. Other fantasy book adaptations you can do that with. You can judge it side by side. With these, it's very, very clear that you can't if you're going to get full enjoyment out of it. So as a film and as a presentation, could not agree. Could not give this a higher rating, sorry, is what I mean to say. I absolutely love this film. Tremendous film. See it, especially if you get an opportunity to see it in full means the highest quality possible that you can see it, as I did in IMAX 3D. It is an experience to behold. So there you have it. There are my thoughts on The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, the epic conclusion to the Tolkien universe. I will backtrack and do that extended Blu-ray review for The Desolation of Smaug that I promised all of you. So, thank you once again to my Patreon supporter, Indian Maiden. Patreon still being revamped. I will get to that after the holidays, the new reward system and all that for anybody that wants to donate that way, I promise. And as always, this is reality according to the Razman and Razman's. Oh, I almost forgot. Please subscribe if you are new here and you like what you saw here today because I would love to see you again. Give this review a thumbs up, as I said in the beginning, if you've stuck around for the whole thing and really enjoyed it. I always really appreciate those as well. And as always, this is reality according to the Razman and Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.